Welcome everyone to this recess meeting of August 15, 2019 of the Will County Board. We'll call to order this meeting, and if everyone would please stand and County Board member Annette Parker will lead us in the pledge of allegiance and introduce the clergy the morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Today I would like to introduce Father Greg Podwasaki from St. John Vianney Catholic Church in Lockport, Illinois. Father Greg was born in a small town in the southeast region of Poland and was the oldest of 5 children. Father Greg attended grade school and high school in his hometown and entered the major seminary of the Diocese of Sandomierz in 2001. Father Greg came to the U.S. in 2004 and was ordained transitional deacon at the Cathedral of St. Raymond in 2007 and a priest in 2008 for the Diocese of Joliet. Father Greg currently works at the Diocesan Tribunal as an assistant judicial vicar and is the dean for the North Will and Kendall Deanery. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Let us make ourselves aware of the presence of God. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Continue to remind us that all that we do here today, that all we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you and for the service of humanity. Dear Lord and Father, thank you for the promise that where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, that you are in their midst. Lord, we welcome you amongst us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have gifted upon each of us. We ask you that you open our ears so that we may hear your voice. Open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom. Open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance. Open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered here together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther, to be best we can be. We invoke your blessings upon this board meeting on behalf of the good people of our county of Will. Allow us to serve them well, for they have put their trust in us. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Amen.
Amen. That was nice. It sounded like one of the trophies. Oh my God, she says we passed.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ferry.
Here.
Frizzalone.
Here.
Ogala.
Here.
Summers. Cook.
Here.
Mustis.
Yes.
Rice. Tyson.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Trainier.
Yes.
Fritz.
Present.
Mueller.
Here.
Gould. Van Dyne.
Here.
Balich.
Here.
Brooks.
Yeah.
Parker.
Here.
Ventura. Dollinger.
Here.
Markham.
Here.
Berkowitz.
Here.
Cowan.
Here.
Tuminello.
Here.
Weigel. Carlitis. Winfrey.
25 present, 1 absent.
25 present, we have a quorum. Motion to place on file certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Ventura. Call the roll, ma'am.
Ferry.
Yes.
Frizzalone. Ogala. Summers. Cook. Mustis. Rice.
Ms. Rice?
Tyson. Harris. Trainier. Fritz. Mueller. Gould. Van Dyne. Balich. Brooks. Parker. Ventura. Dollinger. Markham. Berkowitz. Cowan. Tumanello. Weigel. Carlitis. Winfrey.
Yes. 24 affirmative.
24 affirmative, motion is carried. Next up, the approval of minutes of the recess meeting of July 18, 2019. Moved by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Cook. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Berkowitz and second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Madam Clerk, please acknowledge the elected officials and the media to this morning.
This morning, we have Auditor Duffy Blackburn, County Executive Larry Walsh, County Clerk Lawrence Daly Ferry, Recorder of Deeds Karen Stuckel, State's Attorney James Glasgow, Superintendent of Schools Sean Walsh, and State Senator Jennifer Bertino Tarrant. For the media, we have Alice Fabre from the Southtown, Nick Ryer from the Farmers Weekly, and Alex Ortiz from the Herald News.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. First up, honorary resolutions and proclamations. Would County Board members Denise Winfrey and Herb Brooks come to the podium for a check presentation?
Okay. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I want to thank the cooperation of the Will County Board for your support in District 8, along with our financial partner in what we're about to do, Dale Hoekstra on Waste Management. And Dale, if you want to come down, join us at this time as well. But I want to call on Adrian Heath of the Redeemed Connections to come on down. You won some prizes. Come on down. While they're coming, 2 weeks ago I attended a graduation. Redeemed Connections has a training program in Joliet, and I had a wonderful opportunity to participate. Why don't we start right here? They can go right around this way. Start right there. And Adrian, you come over here. You come over here. I hope that's not a sermon. Okay, all right. I know him, you all. Come on close. Had a wonderful opportunity sharing with the graduation these young people in previous class. And on today, we're so very proud to present a presentation, a check to Mr. Heath. You got the big one?
I do.
For $7,500 for the Redeemed Connection Ministries. Come on over. I'll hold the check. Don't worry about the money. I got it.
First of all, I would like to just thank the county executive, Larry Walsh, the entire board, Pastor Herbert Brooks, Denise Winfrey, and all of you for this privilege and this opportunity. I did bring our graduating class of 2019 with us today, and this is our 4th consecutive year for our vocational training and summer job training program. Again, I'd like to thank you, and they would like to thank you as well for supporting the work that helps us. It is a 12-week paid job training program.
Tell me about what they do. What they do.
We began our vocational training with how you prepare application, resume. We role play all of those, follow up on those things there. And then we also do career planning. We discuss what they're looking for as a career, and then we help to guide them through the process of reaching that goal. So they have to actually map out a plan on how they're going to do that, how they're going to pay for that. We also go through that from resume writing, like I said, resume writing, career planning, to employer expectation, appearance on the job, job safety, and job orientation. We also use lawn maintenance as a model for how you start a business. And then we take that and we show them that basically through that lawn service model and lawn service training, we partner with Joliet Junior College. They get to go out to Joliet Junior College. They get to see the horticulture and landscape department, meet with David Bartz, who's director in that area, and they get to see it firsthand, the vastness of the opportunities in that area. Of course, some may not want lawn maintenance, but we use that to say that no matter what business or career you choose, every employer is looking for a safe employee. They're looking for an employee that's willing to work and to excel and to do good in that area. So those are some of the things that we cover, as well as how to start your own business.
All right.
Right. Well, thank you. Congratulations, and I always like to see graduations and young people graduate, and the time that you put in and help them out, and that they'll never lose what they have taught. And to the two county board members, Herb Brooks and Denise Winfrey, we appreciate you, and our good friend, where's Dale? Dale must have left already. Yeah. Well, he left a check. Yeah,
that's what we need, yeah.
So he's a one good guy that helps us, and so congratulations, and it goes for a good cause.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Larry, and thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get the kids get this. They get that. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. Herb. Make a motion to accept that. So
Yes, I do.
Denise,
I thank you.
Denise.
I make the motion that we accept Redeemed Ministries
Yep.
and award them their check.
Second by
Second.
Mr. Brooks. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
All resolutions approved at the July 18, 2019 County Board meeting have been signed by the county executive. It's my honor to deliver the annual State of the County address each year and highlight the many achievements of Will County government. I remain proud that our county is planning for the growth and in a responsible way, and we see successful efforts in the communities across the county where our residents are raising their families. Will County remains strong and has many positives, but we are not without our challenges. as we become an even larger participant on the national and international stage of the global economy. We must also balance our new developments with the quality of life for our residents. I firmly believe this can be achieved because in Will County, we work together to overcome our obstacles. This year, I'm asking the county's board leave to present the state of the county report differently. I'm going to have my Chief of Staff, Nick Palmer, share the details of all of our hard work. Nick?
Good morning. Executive Walsh, Speaker Winfrey, Leader Frizzalone, County Board members, elected officials, and residents. Thank you for this opportunity to share Will County's report on behalf of Executive Walsh. I will get right into the exciting details. Last month, Governor Pritzker visited Will County to announce the details of the Rebuild Illinois Capital Program, which provided nearly $45 billion in funding over the next 6 years to communities across the state. Improvements in transportation, economic development, environmental programs, health care, and education will assist us in managing the projected growth of our county and promote a strong economic environment. These are critical to our community, and we are working on each of these issues and many more. Will County is a critical part of the global transportation network. Many goods imported into the United States pass through our county. From our community-friendly freight mobility study, we know that 63% of goods passing through Will County did not originate here, nor will they end their travels here. Thus, we are a conduit for trade across the country and truly are at the crossroads of America, with our many access points to interstates, railways, and waterways. Infrastructure investments we make will keep our residents not only safe, but it will support our economy today and in the future. Key projects funded by the state include a total of over $1 billion to rebuild Interstate 80 from Ridge Road to Route 30. Multiple bridges along this 16-mile portion of this critical freight corridor will be upgraded, including aging and obsolete structures over the Des Plaines River, improved auxiliary lanes, and shoulders to increase capacity. Nearly $76 million is earmarked for reconstruction and widening of Jefferson Street from between Hobart Road in Joliet and River Road in Shorewood. Over $50 million will modernize Route 53 from Arsenal Road near Elwood north to Doris Avenue near Knoll Park in South Joliet. Interstate 55 will receive more than $23 million for resurfacing from Weber Road to south of I-80. And more than $22 million will fund significant improvements to the Jefferson Street and Cass Street bridges over the Des Plaines River right here in downtown Joliet. There is also $162 million for infrastructure improvements along I-57 in eastern Will County. County Board members Lori Summers and Judy Ogala, along with the County Executive's Office, our County Department of Transportation, the Will County Governmental League, and municipal officials from the communities in eastern Will County have been working cooperatively to improve safety and transportation options in this region. Investments along the I-57 corridor will improve the economic competitiveness of this area and keep residents safe. We still have more work to do with our local legislators and local officials to build on the progress we are already making. The Will County Board and the County Executive's Office have long advocated with many other stakeholders for improvements at the Lewis University Airport in Romeoville. For a number of years, we sought funding for an improved control tower to serve this critical airport through our federal agenda efforts and in Springfield. Former County Board members Suzanne Hart and Don Moran, along with our current legislative committee led by Jackie Trenier and County Board leadership, have been strong advocates for this project in Washington, D.C., and everyone should be thanked for their unified efforts. This 1,000-acre airport, which is owned and operated by the Joliet Regional Port District, is a driving force in the economic development of our region. The Illinois Department of Transportation's Division of Aeronautics named Lewis Airport as their 2018 Illinois Reliever Airport of the Year. This special recognition is based on the airport's safety record, cooperation and coordination with IDOT, services provided to the local community, and general maintenance of the facility. With a new capital bill, Lewis will receive $6 million to build a permanent tower to enhance safety and expand operations of the 2 runways. We also want to thank the hard work of Congressman Dan Lipinski, who was a strong advocate for this tower funding. Another benefit will be the enhancement of educational opportunities at Lewis. In 2013, the university won the prestigious Loaning Trophy, which is awarded annually to an outstanding collegiate aviation program by the National Intercollegiate Flying Association. It is expected by 2035, more than 2 million aviation-related jobs will be available across the U.S. As their motto goes, Lewis University is the place where aviation careers take flight. The Rebuild Illinois Capital Program also included $3.5 billion to enhance other educational opportunities across our state. We know that higher education is critical to the future of our region, and the investments in Will County schools enable students to prepare for careers at our colleges and universities locally. Improvements at Governor State University in University Park include $32.7 million for a new Center for Instruction and Innovation building and other maintenance projects. Nearly $20 million will be going to Joliet Junior College for numerous campus improvements. We want to thank the General Assembly and the Governor for making these important investments. Turning to Will County's government's work on our own local capital projects, we continue to make significant progress with our new county courthouse. And I have some important information to report. As of the end of July, work on the courthouse continues to be done both safely and efficiently. We have surpassed 503 workdays without any injuries, and more than 376,000 hours have been logged by local labor. We remain ahead of schedule on the impressive $215 million, 10-story, state-of-the-art courthouse, which already has become a focal point of downtown Joliet and hopefully will stimulate additional development. The glass-paneled building will have 38 courtrooms and greatly enhanced security and technology infrastructure to support its daily operations. The front hallways on the upper floors will have floor-to-ceiling windows to allow natural light and subfloor heating and air conditioning to help keep operational costs down. With our existing court system serving 1,600 cases per day, this new courthouse will accommodate our predicted growth while maintaining a high level of security and efficient service. As many of you know, the Child Advocacy Center within our State's Attorney's Office is a critical agency in our efforts to protect children in our community. As this chart shows, there has been a dramatic increase in the number of cases involving crimes against children. The Child Advocacy Center, founded in 1999 by State's Attorney James Glasgow, has been successful in obtaining forensic interviews from children that have resulted in hundreds of prosecutions. Last year alone, the CAC served nearly 700 children who have endured physical and sexual abuse and neglect. The staff remains small in number, but has increased in size with more than 12 full-time employees, including forensic interviewers, trauma-focused therapists, and treatment coordinators who offer services including therapy to help these children begin to heal. These dedicated professionals are doing great work, and we thank them for all that they do. Thanks to the support of many of our local legislators, the CAC will be receiving $850,000 to assist with the construction of a new purpose-built building. A larger building will allow for additional space for therapy groups, as well as a second interview and observation room. The increased space will allow for 2 more therapists and additional advocates. We plan to have more to report on this project in the coming months. What some of you may not be aware of is an innovative resource we have to serve local residents. The trio of therapy dogs, Kiwi, Mally, and Jackson, provide comfort to many individuals receiving county services, and we are glad to have them as part of our team. Who doesn't like dogs? Cat lovers. The rain this year has not slowed down progress on 3 other critical capital projects. We are moving forward on the new animal control and EMA buildings on the public safety campus and our new health department building. The 6,000 square foot animal control building will enable our staff to more effectively serve the needs of our residents. Working with local veterinarians, we continue to support spay and neuter services and rabies vaccine programs. Over the past 10 years, our animal control has registered nearly 83,000 pets. The 11,000 square foot EMA garage will house the mobile command center and other emergency vehicles. Currently, 23 vehicles, including the command van, and 7 generator trailers are housed in a number of sites. Consolidating the storage of these important pieces of equipment makes financial sense and increases the efficiency of our response times. The new $32 million modern health department will serve our residents for years to come. The 2-story, 73,000 square foot building is scheduled for completion in July 2020. The existing health department was built in the 1920s and has surpassed its useful life for our fast-growing county. In 2018, our immunizations clinic delivered more than 6,000 vaccines to more than 3,600 clients. Also in 2018, our food facilities program issued more than 10,000 food service permits across all of Will County, and nearly 7,000 residents receive benefits each month from our WIC, or Women, Infants, and Children program. Our residents and our staff deserve a modern building to access and provide these services, these necessary services. We are also proud to announce we have expanded our healthcare services in a permanent location in Monee. Last week, we launched additional behavioral and primary health services at this clinic to expand important public health services to the residents in eastern Will County. As I wrap up the review of capital projects, we wanted to show you a brief drone video of our current capital projects. You can see footage over the animal control and EMA construction sites, the new health department facility, and the new county courthouse. It's a pretty view. Will County has been a leader in green initiatives for many years. With our previous review of county buildings and energy efficiency improvements, the gas-to-energy plant at the county-owned Prairie View landfill, and the informative Will County Green website, we continue to offer opportunities and education to our residents and business owners about cost-saving and environmental-friendly programs. During the 2018-2019 school year, our Resource Recovery and Energy staff launched a food scrap recycling program at 2 Plainfield District high schools. The Central and East campuses mobilized their environmental clubs and student body to publicize the new program, which enabled the school to collect food waste and turn it into a soil additive to fertilize plants. More than 4 tons of food was kept out of the waste stream through this pilot program. Plainfield is currently negotiating with Organics Recycling to expand this program to include 17 of their elementary schools. The county will assist in launching the program this fall in more schools. Earlier this year, Will County, along with other local governmental bodies shown here, adopted the Greenest Region Compact to access grants and other technical assistance to enhance sustainability efforts. Thus far, 81% of these communities are making progress towards the goals outlined in the compact, including encouraging the use of solar power and using energy-efficient practices in public facilities. In addition, Will County joined Cook, DuPage, and Kane counties to partner with the Midwest Renewable Energy Association to coordinate a group purchase to offer reduced cost to residents who choose to install solar power. Through the end of August, various solar power hours will be held in communities across the county to share this important information. You can see the participating sites on this slide and find other information at the website solarchicagoland.com. Looking to the future, we have 2 more projects that we will partner with the County Board on soon. The first is Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, or CPACE, which is a new financing mechanism that enables low-cost, long-term funding for energy and water conservation projects. CPACE financing is repaid on a voluntary assessment on the property's regular tax bill. The County Executive's Office, along with County Board leadership, has begun to investigate this innovative way to encourage additional energy-efficient projects in our county, and we look forward to bringing this concept to a County Board committee later this year. Another innovative project the County Executive and the County Board leadership will bring forward soon involves our Prairie View landfill and the gas that is created due to the decomposition of the landfill garbage. A new process would enable the county to capture, clean, and then pump the renewable natural gas into the nearby national pipelines. This project offers the potential for a significant non-property tax revenue source that is much better for the environment. These efforts are part of our ongoing negotiations with our business partner, Waste Management, so please stay tuned for more information in the coming months. Will County has been employing green, sustainable practices for many years, and we have no plans to slow down in the future. Affordable housing remains a challenge across the country. Through a grant from the National Association of Realtors and assistance from our local Three Rivers Association of Realtors, Will County is conducting a fair housing study in partnership with the City of Joliet and the Housing Authority of Joliet. We collected nearly 1,000 surveys from residents asking for their input about housing options. We anticipate a draft of the report will be available this month for public comment. The goal is to ensure affordable housing is available to all residents, and we appreciate the support we receive from the agencies listed here. Our studies have shown that many families in Will County struggle to maintain safe, affordable housing, and oftentimes the majority of their income goes to pay for rent or mortgage, which leave little money for other important necessities. Housing and community development services often go hand in hand, and during the National Week of Housing, which was May 30th to June 5th, Congressman Bill Foster joined our staff on a tour of a few types of housing options in the county and a visit to some community organizations, including Cornerstone's Group Home for Boys with Disabilities in Crest Hill and the Forest Park Community Center in Joliet. We must continue to advocate to our legislators to protect federal funding for HUD and other community development programs. Without this necessary funding, more families will find themselves faced with homelessness. Will County has continued its work in addressing overdose deaths and support for residents dealing with drug addictions. A positive step forward is that we reported a slight drop in overdose deaths in 2018, as noted on this slide. With a dramatic increase of fentanyl across the entire country, we have had to adjust our efforts to address overdoses. Through the efforts of Dr. Kathleen Burks, Director of Substance Use Initiatives, the Will County Sheriff's Department, local police departments, the Will County Specialty Courts, our health department, and our many community partners, we are making progress. In 2018, we trained 1,400 more residents in delivering Narcan to overdose victims. Of the 76 Narcan deployments that were reported, 71 people were saved. Through the Warm Handoff program at St. Joseph's and Silver Cross Hospital emergency departments, we have provided a timely linkage to substance use treatment after an overdose. Since January of this year, nearly 200 patients were seen and 150 accepted admission into treatment programs. We are working with Dr. Jennifer Bird in our federally qualified Community Health Center to expand our medication-assisted treatment program. 4 physicians have joined our health department to provide Vivitrol and Suboxone through this program to opioid use disorder patients, including pregnant women. We have also established a method to set up an MAT program for people with substance use disorders who are released from the county jail. To further facilitate linkages to treatment, we have added 5 more police departments to our Safe Passage program. This brings the total to 10 departments. With the renewal of our federal grant for the 4th year, we will continue our life-saving efforts. Finally, Our 157-bed skilled nursing care facility, Sunny Hill, continues to improve both in appearance and our approach to care. The long-term effort to renovate this entire facility are now complete, and we have a wonderful home to care for our senior residents. Our staff continues their resident-centered care model in which the residents make the majority of the decisions, including decor and menu planning. The employees of Sunny Hill, which have been led by Administrator Becky Halderson, are dedicated to create an environment that is home-like while providing superior medical care. We want to honor Becky, who will be retiring at the end of this month, who along with former Administrator Karen Sobrero helped guide Sunny Hill through the massive transformation into the facility we have today. On behalf of Executive Walsh and our leadership team, we thank Becky for her many years of tireless dedication to Sunny Hill and their residents, and we wish her a healthy, happy retirement. It has been an honor to share a brief overview of this past year's accomplishments. There are many, many more positive stories we could share, but time limits just do not allow for it. On behalf of Executive Walsh, I would again like to acknowledge all of our employees for their hard work throughout the year. We would like to recognize all of our countywide officials and county board members who work daily to serve the residents of Will County. Finally, we would like to thank all of our partners in local government, the private sector, and most importantly, the residents of Will County who are working together to keep Will County a great place to live, work, and raise their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. See, that's why I got him around here. Our first committee, Land Use and Development Committee, Mr. Markham, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I'd like to start land use and development by making a motion to open public hearing for all land use cases.
Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Harris. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone? Yes. Ogala? Yes. Cook?
Yes.
Mustis? Yes. Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz? Mueller? Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yep.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Crolitis? Winfrey?
Yes. 24 affirmative.
24, we are in public hearing. I have one person signed up, Merrick, is that right?
Merrick Walcoes?
Oh, you don't want to say anything more tonight? Oh, okay. Anybody from the public to have addressed any of these cases? We have two cases to be heard. ZC-19-034. ZC-19-037. Those are the two cases that we have today. Anybody from the public wants to address the board? Anybody? Mr. Markham.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Ventura. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone? Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Mustis? Rice? Tyson?
Yes.
Harris? Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould? Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich? Brooks?
Yes.
Parker? Ventura?
Yes.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz? Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello? Weigel? Crolitis? Winfrey?
Yes. 25 affirmative.
We are out of public hearing. Mr. Markham.
All right, first up, we have zoning case ZC-19-034, which is Plainfield Township, who's the owner of record. This is a special use permit for dynamic display in an agricultural and residential zoning district. They received a variance for the display portion of the sign from 50 to 69.3%, and it's at 22525 West Lockport, Plainfield, Illinois, County Board District Number 5, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Markham, Ms. Mueller. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Cowan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
Next up, number 2 is zoning case ZC-19-037, which is a special use permit for keeping of horses, farm animals, and livestock, and a variance for maximum accessory building area in Monee Township, commonly known as 24835 South Murphy Lane, Monee, Illinois, and County Board District Number 1, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Ogalla. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll, motion by Ms. Cook, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
All right, next up, we have resolutions. The one we have today is a request for refund of fees for case ZC-19-015, which is the Crete Township Fire Protection District. If we remember a few months ago, they came to us to put up a dynamic display sign. So in your packet, you'll see the resolution. The Land Use Department already refunds $2,500 for all local government. And the committee voted, and they were asking for an additional $950 for variances and publication costs of $305.92 for a total of $1,255.92. The committee voted, it was 1 to 5 against it. So I'll make a motion to approve, but if you don't want to give the refund, then you vote no. So I just wanted to make that clear. So I'm making a motion to approve.
Motion, second by Ms. Tyson. Any discussion?
But it is for $2,500, is that right?
This is for going above and beyond. They automatically get the $2,500 due to our ordinance, which I don't know what year it was passed, but a few years ago, this board passed an ordinance to automatically refund $2,500 for all local governments that apply for land use cases. So this is for the $1,255.92 over the $2,500.
Thank you.
Mr. Balich?
I'm on the Land Use Committee, and when we discussed this, I didn't think it was right to charge them the $950 fees because the taxpayers are already paying it to that fire district, and then they're paying it again, the fire district turn around and give them the money here. It seems to me like they're getting double taxed, or double feed, I would say, and I wasn't in favor of the county paying their publications, though, because that's an added expense that they should incur. But that's why I was a no vote on it, because I just felt that it was wrong to charge them those fees.
Mr. Mischief?
Yeah, I just want to So, in the past, we addressed this numerous times. The decision of the board some time back was, well, we'd give a $2,500 automatic credit to any local governments. Now, I would say this, that Mr. Ballage brings up the fact that they're being double taxed. That's really not the case. Because certainly, should folks in Frankfort Township, for example, use their tax dollars to give it to Crete? The $2,500 was come up with because we felt that would be more than address the local cost or any taxes they were paying. So the other problem we had a number of years ago is that we did not want to be inconsistent. And, I believe the state's attorney recommended to us then to be consistent. You can't say it's okay for Crete, and then you're not going to say it's not okay for Frankfurt or whatever. So I think we have a good system. We give them $2,500, and by the way, that usually covers most of all the cost. And I would recommend that we not change that and vote no. And nobody's getting double taxed here because it's everybody's. The county's money is everyone's money. From one end of the county to the other. It's just not one small area. So I would ask people to vote no, and it'll save us a lot of headaches going forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Trainier.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I'm going to be a no on this, but I wanted to maybe try to illustrate something for Steve so maybe it becomes more palatable for him. We frequently move money that comes to the county to different departments as part of a pass-through for grants, not only to different departments, but sometimes to organizations outside of the county. If you look at it this way, Steve, this is the cost of what they wanted to do. We've refunded $2,500, in other words, not charged them for services that we provided, but they took their taxpayer money that they collected and passed it through on to us to pay for the cost of their making this change in the sign. We didn't charge an extra tax or anything. It's just kind of a pass-through. They held the money. Now they're giving it to us to actually approve and do the work that we approved for them to be able to change their sign. So maybe that helps you a little bit with the process.
Any other discussion?
We're going to need a roll call.
Take a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ferry?
No.
Frizzalone?
No.
Ogala?
Yes.
Cook?
No.
Mustis?
No.
Rice?
No.
Tyson?
Come back to me.
Harris?
No.
Trainier?
No.
Fritz? No. Mueller?
No.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
No.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
No.
Ventura?
No.
Dollinger?
No.
Markham?
No.
Berkowitz?
No.
Cowan?
No.
Tumanello?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Krolitis?
No.
Winfrey?
No.
Tyson?
No.
Three affirmative, 22 negative.
3 affirmative, 22. Motion has been defeated.
All right, so that's everything we have for land use. I don't want everybody to get too spoiled since we've had 2 pretty easy months in a row, so don't get too comfortable. Our next Land Use and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for September 10th, 2019 at 10:30 a.m. in this room, so I will see you there.
Thank you, Mr. Markham. Next up, Finance Committee, Mr. Harris, Chairman.
Good morning, County Executive.
Good morning, Ken.
Fellow County Board members and all else in attendance. The first item on the Finance Committee agenda is a budget proposal. It's a presentation of the FY20 budget proposal. We're going to have Mr. Rashawn Howard come down and present this.
Going to leave the front lights on because I need to see. Good morning, Speaker Winfrey, County Board members, elected officials, and residents of Will County. Today I present the FY 2020 budget. I will give you a high-level overview of what is being proposed and the next steps we must take to keep Will County moving forward. The total county budget is $611 million, of which $212 million is in the corporate fund and $399 million is in special funds. The budget is balanced, meets all of our debt obligations, contributes additional dollars towards our OPEB fund at $500,000 and dedicates funding of $4 million for IMRF accelerated payments. The county continues to maintain a AA+ bond rating and is recognized by rating agencies such as Moody's and Standard & Poor's for our diverse tax base, stable financial performance, and strong reserves and liquidity. As a result of this, we continue to meet our cash reserves target of 22% to 26% of our corporate fund budget. Recommendation for the 2019 levy includes CPI and new property. This translates to an amount of $129 million, which is an increase in actual levy of $3.6 million to the corporate fund and is allowable by state statute. The 2019 tax rate will be 0.5744%, which is lower than the 2018 tax rate of 0.5927%. I would also like to mention that as we continue to see growth in the EAV, the tax rate will continue to decline. For the 6th year in a row, this budget includes a 5-year road and capital plan that recognizes both ongoing and future capital projects, establishes an annual amount for vehicle and equipment replacement, and identifies dedicated sources to fund those projects in 2020. This plan includes $108 million in funding for our Building Will plan that began in 2016 to complete the new courthouse and health department, as well as other upcoming projects. The plan also includes funding of $32 million for our road projects as well. The 2019 corporate fund budget reflects an overall increase of 4.9% from the prior year. Revenues were projected using conservative estimates based on historical trends and current levels of collection. Property tax makes up only about 1/3 of the total revenue in the annual budget. Intergovernmental revenue is up 9.4% due to increases in sales tax collection, grant revenue, and reimbursements, while there are slight increases in charges for service, fines, and forfeitures. License and permits are down 3.8%. Expenses, the combined salary and fringe benefits continue to hold steady at 79% of total corporate expenditures. This is the 9th consecutive year that we've been able to keep salary and fringes in the 76% to 79% range. This remains an improvement from years past where we exceeded 82% or more. Salaries increased by $4.8 million or 4.6%, which covers previous as well as current contractual and exempt wage increases. There is a slight increase in fringe benefits due to the increase in IMRF and SLEP calculations. Health insurance costs decreased, which is largely driven by the increase in employee contribution and plan design changes. This budget includes funding for 9 new positions in various departments in the corporate fund and 10 new court security officers in the sheriff's budget to support the new courthouse. These positions will help to expand and enhance services, fill operational gaps, and improve efficiencies. Each department provided strong justification for the needed positions. Over the last several years, we have focused on consolidation of countywide maintenance services. In FY 2020, expenses for the current courthouse, River Valley, and Health Department maintenance have all been budgeted and centralized under the County Executive's Maintenance Department. We will continue to centralize these services as necessary. There are small increases in other expense categories such as supplies, professional and technical services, and other purchased services. The corporate fund budget does not include the use of any cash reserves. The FY 2020 annual budget includes sufficient funding to maintain existing staffing levels and programming, as well as expand in some departments to meet growing needs. It also includes sufficient contingencies to absorb most unknowns while continuing to incorporate operational efficiencies where possible. As many of you already know, I have scheduled a budget workshop on Tuesday, August 20th at 9 a.m. to share more details of the proposed budget. I am hopeful that board members will take advantage of the opportunity to ask questions and share feedback so that we can work together to finalize the 2020 budget. Finally, I would like to thank countywide elected officials, department heads, and staff that helped create the budget to get us to this point. In addition, I would like to thank Melissa Johansson, whom I've worked closely with over the last several months to ensure we have a smooth budget process. And lastly, I would like to thank you, Mr. Executive, for allowing me to present the budget on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. You paint a pretty picture. Can continue, Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is the monthly financial report to be placed on file. I have two reports. One report is from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of May 2019 to be $1,784,455.49. The RTA tax received is $2,121,619.75 for a total of $3,906,075.24. The next report is the Will County Monthly Treasury Report dated June 30th, 2019 from Will County Treasurer Tim Brophy. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Tyson. Any question? Any questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone? Ogalla?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Moostis?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz? Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich? Brooks?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Curlitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes. 24 affirmative.
24 affirmative. Yep, motion is carried. Please continue.
Okay, we have Resolution 19-201, this appropriating grant fund in the Sheriff 2019 budget from the 2017 Homeland Security Port Security Grant. This grant is offered yearly. It's a competitive grant. We applied to replace some SWAT vests. It's a partial award and can only use for specific things. We're looking to replace grants, cannot be used for salaries. And one of the requirements that we have critical infrastructure, so I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Ventura. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll might have been Mr. Parker, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried. Now, Mr. Harris, speak into your mic.
Okay.
There you go.
Next resolution is 19-202. This is transferring cash reserves from the corporate fund 101 to the debt service obligation. Debt service GO Series 2019 Fund 416. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, the motion has carried.
Next resolution is 19-203. This is increasing appropriation in the ETS 911 FY 2019 budget. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Markham. And any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Mueller, and second by Ms. Cook. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried.
Next resolution is 19-204. This is transferring funds within the Record Management 2019 budget. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Dollinger. Any question? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Ogala, second by Ms. Berkowitz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
The last resolution is 19-205. This is authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents for the Lincoln Tax Program. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Ferry. And any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Ms. Barker. All in favor saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Okay, at the beginning of this report, we just heard our budget, FY20 budget proposal. As you know, we did move the process up. So I have some additional dates I would like to go over again. We got a budget workshop presented by Rashawn Howard. That will be August 20th at 9 a.m. September 3rd at 10 a.m. is our regular finance meeting. This is going to be a discussion of revenues as well as the gas tax proposal. Well, it's not a proposal, but there's discussion on the gas tax. September 17th at 9 a.m., there's a special finance committee meeting. This is going to be used to discuss expenses. October 1st at 10 a.m., this is our regular finance committee meeting. We're going to be discussing the levy. On November 5th at 10 a.m., it's our regular finance committee meeting. This is final discussion of the budget to be approved at our November 21st county board meeting. So I encourage all board members to attend. If you have any questions, email Rashawn, and we'll get those appropriately addressed. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Fine report. Next up, Public Works and Transportation Committee, Mr. Van Dyne, Chairman.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Executive and residents of Will County. At first, I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing to temporarily establish Elevator Road as a limited continuous operation route.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Markham. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
Ogala?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Moostis?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz? Mueller?
Yes.
Gould? Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Brooks? Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Dollinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
Yes.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tumanello?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Krolitis?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes. 24 affirmative.
24, motion has passed. Mr. Van Dyne.
Basically, this motion is this out in Wilton Center. The state of Illinois has put a limit on a particular bridge, unbeknown to us. So we would like to temporarily open up Elevator Road for a 2-mile stretch to allow a trucking company to use our road to bypass this particular bridge. And according to Mr. Ronaldson, the Director of Transportation, he says our road is more than capable of handling this minimal truck traffic. So if there's any other questions or concerns, be happy to try to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Van Dyne? Mr. Mark Scheinman went one. Is he here? Only questions, Mark? Okay. Any questions from the public? Any questions? Mr. Van Dyne?
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion closed public hearing. Second by Ms. Cowan. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Ferry.
Yes.
Frizzalone.
Yes.
Ogalla. Cook.
Yes.
Mustis. Rice.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
Fritz. Mueller.
Yes.
Gould. Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich. Brooks.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ventura.
Yes.
Dollinger.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Cowan.
Yes.
Tubinello. Weigel.
Yes.
Carlitis.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes. 24 affirmative.
24 affirmative. Motion is carried. We are out of public hearing. Continue.
Resolution 19-206, temporarily establishing Elevator Road, County Highway 4, from Offner Road South to US Route 53 as a limited continuous operation route. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmi, Mr. Van Dyne. Mr. Van Dyne, seconded by Mr. Gould. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Ms. Dollinger and second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
19-207, confirming award of contract to Paul Board Construction, $1,088,500 for Arsenal Maintenance Facility Building Construction, County Board District 6, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne and second by Mr. Gould. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Ms. Ogalla, second by Ms. Berkowitz. All in favor, say by aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
19-208, improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for Arsenal Maintenance Facility Building Construction using MFT funds, $1.25 million, County Board District 6, and I would like to make that motion.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Gould. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
19-209, confirming award of contract to PT Farrell Construction for Weber Road, County Highway 88, from north of Route 30 to north of McGillivray Road, County Board District 9, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmi, second by Ms. Ventura. Question?
Yes. Mr. Executive. Thank you. I guess I'm just kind of curious, is there some logic behind tearing up Weber from literally the entire length? All at the same time? Yeah, and maybe that makes sense. I don't know exactly when this contract's going to take place. I've got paper copies today because my iPad is in the shop, so to speak. And I honestly never even caught it before, that it is like the south half of Weber, and we already have the north half of Weber under construction. So I was just curious. Was that discussed at committee?
Mr. Van Dyne, can you, or Jeff? Please, Mr. Ronaldson.
This is simply an overlay. We're not tearing up the road indefinite. This is just like a month process, maybe more, just so it happens. It's our annual maintenance program where we overlay our roads from time to time. There is probably a couple mile gap between this one and the one you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap, but yeah.
But no, it's only a month or so, so yes, we do have to endure more construction traffic, but
Okay.
in the end, we have a good time.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, seconded by Ms. Fritz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
19-210, confirming award of contract to PT Farrow Construction, $102,225.20 for Joliet Road District Overlay on various roadways, County Board District Number 8, and I so move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Any question? Previous roll call by Mr. Brooks and second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Previous opposed. Motion is carried.
Number 7, 19-211, confirming award of contract to Iroquois Paving Corporation for Moni Road District Overlay on various roadways, County Board District 1, and I so move.
Moved by Mr.
Van Dyne.
Van Dyne, second by Ms. Ogala. Any discussion? Any discussion? Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor say by aye. Contrary, the motion has carried.
19-212, confirming award of contract to Amosa Coat, my apologies, $68,400 for Washington Road District Materials, County Board District 1, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Tyson. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Frizzalone. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries.
19-213, improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for county-wide guardrail using additional MFT funds, all county board districts, and I would like to make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Ms. Cowan. And any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger and Ms. Cook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried.
19-214, authorizing approval of professional services agreement for engineering services with AECOM for the countywide ITS study, County Board District 1 through 13, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Harris. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous row by Mr. Tumanello, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried.
Lastly, 19-215, authorizing amendment to the IDOT County Joint Agreement for improvements at the intersection of Route 6 with Gauger Road, County Highway 52, County Board District 7 and 9, and I so move.
Mr. Van Dyne made motion, second by Ms. Ventura. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
The next Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for September 5th, 2019 at 9 a.m., and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Van Dyne. Next up, Judicial Committee, Mr. Markham, Chairman.
Thank you again, Mr. Executive. We have one item for the Judicial Committee, which is 19-186, which is amending Chapter 120 of the Will County Code of Ordinances for sale of tobacco products to ban possession of tobacco and alternative nicotine products by minors in unincorporated Will County. And I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Markham makes a motion to approve, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any discussion?
Just if I, really quick, last month we had the public hearing and we sent it back to the committee and we did change it to 18, so everybody is aware of what we did in committee. We moved the age to 18 instead of 21.
Okay. Everybody understand that? Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ballich, but second by Ms. Ogala. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you. That concludes the Judicial Committee. Our next committee meeting is scheduled for September 3rd, 2019 at 9 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Markham. Next up, Public Health and Safety Committee. Ms. Rice, you handle it for Ms. Summers. Ms. Rice.
In Chairwoman Summers' absence, I'm going to just provide a brief summary of what occurred at the last meeting. We have no items to be voted on today. Sue Olenek presented that the Will County Health Department satellite office in Monee opened to address residents' physical and behavioral health to make it more accessible in that area. Dr. Kathleen Burke presented her end of the grant year report on the opioid crisis. And Ron Pullman presented briefly about housing our homeless population as a way to increase access to health care for those constituents. Our next Public Health and Safety meeting will be September 4th at 9:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Next up, Legislative and Policy Committee, Ms. Trainier, Chairperson.
Thank you again, Mr. Executive. We had a lot of discussion. We had our federal lobbyists call in and give us an update on what's going on with the budgets and appropriations, and they are confident that everything is going to be smooth sailing, no extensively long government shutdown. We also went through our state agenda again, talked about some of our successes, discussed the need to move forward in a different direction, I guess, but still forward on the clean construction debris problem. And we also heard from one of our members that was not present that day about the request to move forward on some legislation dealing with the drainage districts for our farmlands and collecting those back drainage fees for lands that are in the footprint of the airport. And we do have a couple of legislators interested in sponsoring that bill, so that might end up being on our state agenda. We have set up tentatively, I think, a committee of the whole, Speaker Winfrey has, to talk about the cannabis, and our next meeting will be September 10th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Next up, Capital Improvements Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and ladies and gentlemen. Even though I have no resolution to bring forth, in your report, report this morning, Mr. Executive, Nick Palmer gave some good news pertaining to my Capital Improvement Committee, and that is the amount of man hours and woman hours that there are no injuries in all of our projects, and for that we're very proud of. We get updates at all our committee meetings, and they give us that good news, and that was a part of your report, and I do appreciate that. So I have no resolution to bring forward, continue with the good news on all our projects. I have a couple of weeks ago visited the courthouse tour once again with our chief judge and some of the judges. Amazing the progress that's being made. So that's all the report I have. Our next meeting is September the 3rd at 11 a.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next up, Executive Committee, Ms. Winfrey, Chairperson.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Denise.
And good morning, fellow board members. We have several resolutions this morning. First being 19-216, authorizing an agreement with Echo Engineers for feasibility analysis and project management for a renewable natural gas facility at the Prairie View landfill, and I so move.
Okay. Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Ventura. Any discussion? Any discussion? Mr. Ballage.
I've been a proponent of natural gas for a long time, and since we have this at the landfill, it's been discussed at committee slightly, but I think it's important that we look at converting a lot of our county vehicles to natural gas. And the emissions that come out of it are oxygen and hydrogen, which are natural in the air anyway. So it's very, very green, if you want to call it that. But we might be losing out if we wait too long before we convert everything, because I don't think it's that much money to convert fleets over, and a lot of trucking companies use it.
Thank you. That's a worthy cause. All the PACE buses are on natural gas now, so good point. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Trainier, second by Ms. Cook. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried.
We have 19-217, authorizing contracts with designated carriers for the renewal of the group benefits plan, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Mueller. Second by Mr. Van Dyne. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, the motion is carried.
We have 19-218, approving premiums and equivalents for the group insurance plan, including active employee rates, retiree rates, and COBRA rates, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Weigel. On all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
We have 19-219, authorizing the county executive to negotiate and execute an agreement of intent to abate taxes for Quad Plus LLC, and I so move.
Moved by Winfrey, Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Markham, second by Ms. Tyson. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion it carries.
We have 19-220, authorizing the Will County Sheriff and the Chief Judge to amend the medical care contract with WellPath, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Markham. Any question? Any question? Previous motion by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor, signify aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 19-221, which authorizes the First Amendment to the June 13, 2016 non-disclosure agreement for the Hubolt Bridge project. You should have each received a copy of the amended agreement in your packages, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Musis. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous motion by Mr. Tumanello, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19-222, authorizing lease with Joliet for the Problem Solving Courts program, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Ogala. Any question? Any question? Previous by Ms. Cowan, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19223, approval of fiscal year 19 Justice Assistance Grant Program application, excuse me, and allocation, authorizing execution of the memorandum of understanding with the City of Joliet, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Ms. Cook, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
19224 authorizes JAG program grants for fiscal year 17 and 18, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Tyson. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Mr. Van Dyne, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19225 authorizing an IGA with Joliet concerning the Fairmont water system, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Ventura. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Dollinger and second by Ms. Berkowitz. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
19227 declaring various equipment surplus and authorizing disposal, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion? Any discussion? Ms. O'Gala.
I think we should be at 226.
Missed one.
Yeah, we did just finish Fairmont.
Okay.
What's that?
Similar item.
Which one? I don't have,
She
Just
did-
do
I don't
27.
have
we did
226 on my,
You have,
oh, okay, it's missing from my sheet. Well, let me just borrow this for a minute. Excuse me. 19226 declaring vehicles as surplus and authorizing disposal. Oh, this was this one. Somehow the numbers got staggered.
Moved.
did move.
I so moved.
Second by Ms. Ventura. Previous roll by Ms. Cowan, second by Mr. Van Dyne. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries.
Now we're going to do 227.
I need just a moment, Mr. Executive. Are these different?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now we're on 19227, or do we already do the move?
Did 6.
Okay. We just did 6.
227. We finished 6. Now we're doing 7.
We just did 6. Didn't we already have an approval on
Yeah.
7?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're at 228?
Right.
Okay. 19,
We didn't do 20.
Full 19,
okay, on 2.
We back up to 227 and start
We
over.
did not finish, okay.
Right.
So 19227, declaring
We're in
various...
the middle of our work there.
Okay. Okay, so we need, so then we are at the point of, I so move. We need the vote?
Okay. Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Cook. In any discussion, previous roll call by Ms. Ventura and second by Mr. Brooks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
Okay, now we're at 19228, authorizing a contract with Citgo Petroleum for incumbent worker training grant, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Tumanello and second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
19229, authorizing a contract with Duquesne Precast for incumbent worker training grant, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, seconded by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll call by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Fritz. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 19230, authorizing an IGA with the Village of Mokina for animal control services, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey and second by Mr. Gould. Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Tyson, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19231, authorizing an IGA with the Village of Beecher for animal control services, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Trainier. And any discussion? Previous roll call by Mr. Ballage, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, opposed, motion is carried.
We have 19232, an IGA with the Village of Bolingbrook for animal control services, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Trainier. Any discussion? Previous roll by Ms. Tyson and second by Ms. Cowan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
I have 19233, authorizing an agreement with Constellation Energy to provide electricity to county government facilities, and I so move.
Move. Motion made by Ms. Winfrey. What?
Second by Tyler.
What?
Second.
Second by Tyler.
Floor, second.
Second by Mr. Markham.
Right.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to amend it to the agreement with Constellation Energy to award 100% green energy at an
Estimated .02836 per kilowatt.
Second.
Second motion by
Second,
Fritz.
motion on the amendment.
Yeah, Mr. Frizalone. Yeah, has everybody seen the motion?
Yeah, I believe so. We were given rates on Tuesday.
I can't have a think,
No, they
so.
have not.
We need discussion.
Yeah, I didn't. Has everybody seen the motion? Have you got the motion written out?
Yeah, so in the motion says it's authorizing the county executive to execute an agreement with Constellation Energy to provide the electricity of county government facilities. In there is I want to amend a section of that. It's the 6th paragraph down where it says, whereas the Resources Recovery and Energy Division has recommended and the Executive Committee has concurred that a contract to be entered into the lowest responsible bidder, Constellation Energy, for electricity. This award is for, it currently says 50%. I'd like to amend that to 100% green energy at an estimate, and the rate it has here is .02785. I'd like to amend that to the .02836. Per kilowatt cost of the total cost based on the historical usage. It's got a number of 47632.44. We'd like to amend that to 484,342.4 based upon the 3-year contract commencing on July 2021. This cost will be funded through multiple county department budgets.
Hold up, I got a Christmas tree out there. Sam, would you please come up?
She giggles as she goes past. And she's clear. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning.
There you go.
Sure. In this case, the definition of green energy would be a renewable energy. Something, for example, like nuclear would be considered a clean energy, meaning it's carbon neutral. So in the state of Illinois, I'd have to pull up exactly how they call renewable, but that would be a fuel stock that is constantly available naturally in the environment. So such as wind, there's always going to be wind, sun, I hope there's always going to be sun.
Nuclear actually is renewable.
So the only, the reason I'm asking is I want maybe define what different energies is, so at least for I have a good
Sure.
understanding of what you're talking about. So renewable energy, I'm only aware of
Sure, there's geothermal, which is used.
Geothermal is once you release the heat, it's gone.
Usually it's contained inside a facility instead of using a fuel. Sure, so there's many ways that we could go through and define renewable types of renewable energy. In this case, the green energy green is all capital, it's a brand of the RECs that is sold across the market for those who wish to procure from renewable resources. And in this case, the renewable resources under those brands are generally, most commonly, solar and wind. It could also include things like hydropower or geothermal.
We don't do it now. Like dam, water would be regulated.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. I would have to look and see on our grid territory, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, also known as PJM. I'd have to look and see what their current composition plan is for 2020. They usually are in that process about this time to make that determination based on what demand is going to be for that transmission territory.
Miss, wait, still to you.
You're welcome.
Miss Ogala is up next.
Oh, no.
What's it? Oh, you don't want to? Okay, next up, Mr. Tumanello.
Sam, are we purchasing renewable energy from Will County, or are we purchasing credits from other locations?
We are purchasing credits from other locations currently.
So if we jump from 50% to 100%, would it be safe to say that we're going to be purchasing more out-of-state
Yes.
credits? Okay. If for some reason we go to 100% and we use less of our local energy, would it be construed as we're actually removing jobs from Will County?
No.
And purchasing jobs from out of state?
May I explain how that process works with the RECs? So what's in front of you currently is a proposal for 50% for a contract from 2021 to 2024. So nothing about our existing contract is changing at the 50% renewable energy until 2021. Electric prices have reached an all-time low for a myriad of reasons that I won't delve too deeply into, but I'm happy to explain offline if that's your wish. The prices being low like they are, there's a couple of options we could take. The renewal for 2021 to 2024 is in front of you all today because the cash flow stream from our current agreement till the end of 2024 was the best option, was to take the renewal at our current 50% green energy procurement rate. So if the board wishes to change the amount of renewable energy that is procured, mind you, not 100% of the electricity the county uses is procured. Some of it is still on retail accounts with ComEd because the rate structure for those accounts is economically more favorable to stay where they are than to procure in this such way. Now, the county board at any time, if approving the contract just in general to have a renewal, whether it was 0% renewable energy or 75% or 100 or 30, the renewal is all that matters, is that you lock in the electricity rate. At any point from now until the end of that new contract's term in 2024, the county board can opt to increase or decrease the amount of renewable energy that is procured. Will it cost more later to wait and do that? I don't know. It depends on subsidies and what the price of RECs, renewable energy credits, do in the marketplace over that course of time while that decision remains unmade. That is essentially what is in front of you today. The RECs are purchased, our RECs for our 50% renewable energy today are purchased from a wind farm in Iowa. However, the way the grid system works is whatever power generation facility is nearest a load demand, for example, let's just use this county office building, that is what is serving that electrical need. It will not change. Whatever electrons are closest, that's the ones that are going to be feeding this facility. So if we had solar on top of this facility, the electrons from the solar would feed us, and then any remaining demand would come from the next nearest generation facility. So when buying RECs to source a certain percentage of procured electricity from renewable resources, you're really buying the commodity that represents renewable energy environmental attributes, and that is a REC.
So so essentially, we would be paying some additional.
I got 3 more people in front of you, Ray.
Well, I know, but she was still answering my question from a minute ago.
Okay. Okay.
So
it's been so long.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but I agree. Solar Sam is very passionate.
Thank you.
So my question is...
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Continue.
I didn't know if I was going to get it thrown at me or what, but I think I forgot what I was going to say. But so
your original question was regarding taking away jobs or
right. That was my original question, and then I wanted to follow up with. So essentially, we would be paying a little bit more money to go to 100%, and not 1 ounce of that electricity that we purchase on the 100% plan would really get to the residents of Will County. Is that correct? I'm just trying to understand. I understand what it is. You're going to buy the 100%, the Will County. You're going to buy it from a wind. Let's just say we buy the 100% from the Will wind farm, but that's going to go closest to wherever is using that.
That's
we're going to continue to stay.
That's the science of the grid, yes. Buying the RECs represents so that you are offsetting whatever portion of carbon emission that you would normally be emitting. So that's the logic behind that. But you are correct, and I also like to point out that we need a variety of power mix in our county, and as we progress and the market changes.
Right.
So I also just want to make a note, there's been some questions about the relationships with different energy generation facilities in the county, and this was brought up last time, but Constellation is a company, a subsidiary of Exelon.
So my last question before I get the hammer is, what percentage of electric does the county currently procure versus the non-procured portion of our electric bill?
So I don't have those numbers in front of me. It is, the majority is procured. The ones that aren't are smaller accounts that really, or leased facilities.
Okay.
That are, their demand is nothing compared to some of our, like the county office building or our adult detention facility. So the majority, the vast majority is procured. I'm happy to send a follow-up email to Maura regarding the total.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice questions, you know, Ray. Next up, Ms. Berkowitz.
Sam, thank you for your patience. I know this is a lot of information trying to understand it. So I don't know if I'm erroneous in thinking of it this way, but it seems to me it's kind of similar to the petroleum market, the way the product is assembled and then distributed, but maybe I'm incorrect on that.
I don't know. Generally speaking, the cost of transmission, it's going to be whatever's closest. That's typically how it works, but I'm not an expert on the petroleum industry, so unfortunately I don't want to make any comments that might be incorrect regarding that.
So if we go up to 100% green energy, that doesn't restrict us from, in the future, being able to consider adjusting that or the establishing more use of other energy providers.
If you increase the amount of renewable energy that's procured, there's a cost because you're purchasing RECs. If you decrease, let's say the decision was to procure 100% renewable energy, if in the future the county board decided to lower that in any way, there would still be a cost to lowering it because you had locked into an agreement to buy a certain amount of RECs, and by backing out there's an inconvenience, and that is factored in, and there's a cost for that. There's no point at which it can't be increased or decreased, but there's a cost either way.
Okay. Correct. Can I have one more?
And prior and leading up to the contract.
Executive? Okay. And will this in any way impact our nuclear companies in our county, or is there any negative impact to this?
That is a very, that's a question that's difficult for me to answer because there's a lot of ways I'm sure that this discussion, that you could break down the benefits, the pros and the cons to either side. I don't know that I feel entirely comfortable giving a definitive answer on that. I would say that because the cash flow is similar and being a subsidiary of some of our larger one of our larger refineries, that could be beneficial. The electrons, the demand is still going to be met locally. This is really an environmental leadership decision and to what extent and what message the county board wants to send, and I don't feel comfortable stating what that is on behalf of you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Ballage.
I think you answered part of my questions. It's from what you said that the cogents that we have would not be affected and the nuclear plant won't be affected.
Again, I don't feel
And
comfortable definitively
the natural gas
saying-
out of our landfills, we'll still be able to use all that? And
Yes,
get credit,
yes.
that'll go as a credit for us?
So the renewable natural gas that discussion is yet to determine what the end use for sure is going to be. Those discussions are in progress with different pipelines. As far as our other energy generating facilities in the county, it's very difficult for me to say what the exact impact going to 100% renewable energy on our approximately 17 million kilowatt hours a year that we demand that are procured. It's very difficult to say what that impact is by buying SRECs, but you're buying SRECs, so you're not putting up any generation facilities or supporting renewable energy generation facilities right here that are diverting jobs or revenue away from the source that it currently is.
Okay, so in other words, in order to get this straight, I'm going to need a lot more information. But the other question is, that's probably the most important. What's the cost to our taxpayers from going from 50 to 75 or 100? What's the cost to our taxpayers? Because I'm sure they're fed up with all the taxes that they've gotten in the last couple months that they're getting before the end of first.
Sure.
So I don't want to even go into this personally. If it's going to cost our taxpayers a bunch of money, I'm against it just for that one reason.
Sure.
Because they're suffering right now.
So currently, very good question, the cost to go from, we currently are at 50%. Let me just state, we don't have to be at 50%. We could be at 0%, we could be at 25%. I simply wrote the resolution and negotiated the contract to look at 50% because that's currently what the board has opted for. So assuming that 50% is where we start. If it were to increase to 75% renewable energy, that would be $4,600 approximately a year for 3 years, or a total of $13,800 approximately. If we were to go to 75%, or if we were to go from 50% to 100%, it would be approximately $8,700 annually, or a total of $26,000 approximately over the 3-year term. So that is the cost to participating in the REC market and supporting renewables in this case. Or, obviously, the less RECs you buy, the cheaper the cost is because you're not purchasing any renewable energy credits. Does that answer your question, County Board Member Ballage?
Kind of, but there's, with solar panels on our roofs, we can have it feed directly to the buildings if we support them there. So then we wouldn't need credits at all. Is that correct?
Not 100% of our energy is procured. And so there would be room, even if 100% renewable energy was the choice for the procurement, there still is room in our energy portfolio to take advantage of renewable energy and not be over 100% of total electric sourcing from renewables, if that makes sense.
It's very confusing. I wish we had time to, this was brought back to a committee and we actually talked about it a little bit. I got so many questions. You want to be here till 1 o'clock?
No,
Again, I
no.
think that's a dangerous question for me to answer. Essentially, the reason why it's important, in my opinion, for you all to have this in front of you at this point is because regardless of the renewable energy percentage, the prices of electricity are at historic lows for as long as we've been tracking electricity. It would be extremely, I would feel terrible if I did not bring to you all an opportunity to save a lot of money for our taxpayers by hedging that amount of electricity at this time. So that's my number one priority here today. And the 50%, 75%, 100% renewable energy as environmental leaders, as everyone on this board knows, that is for your consideration on what message you wish to send, what your priorities are, what your constituents are looking for. Thank you.
Next up, Ms. Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Thank you, Sam, for this information. Just to be clear, like you just mentioned that the rates are at historically low levels. If we decided we wanted to wait on this decision, how long are these rates good for?
I don't know that I could get the supplier to, they've already held them for us. It's
immediate.
It's pretty immediate,
Okay.
similar to how the gasoline procurement is for the county. We could wait and they could stay the same. We could wait and they could go up. It's really difficult for
I
me
wasn't to sure if say. they were good for 24 hours or 24 days, or if that rate was in any way locked in, but it appears it's not.
Asking them to hold it for more than a couple weeks is difficult because of the volatility of the market, unfortunately.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Frizzalone.
Thank you. Sam, I got a question first before I make my statement. When we talk about the savings again, and I know you want to confirm that I was right in the caucus.
You had to slip that in there.
And please refer to me as Green Mike in the future. So the estimated annual savings that's shown is over our current contract, right?
Yes.
All right, so when we did this, I think 2 years ago is when we did the last contract, or a year and a half ago?
2018.
2018, when we did that contract, those of you who are here remember that I pushed 100% at that point, because the cost of us going from 0 to 50, we saved money, and from 50 to 100, we saved a little less, but we still saved. And at the time, everybody said, hey, this is new, we're just kind of trying it out, why don't we compromise and do 50%, and then we can always move up. Well, here's our opportunity to move up. We save even more money than we already saved. It's not like we're going back to zero and saying, we're saving this amount of money over having no RECs at all. So we are saving more. Now, we're saving, I think the number's $22,000 a year more than we would be on our current contract.
By going up to 100.
By going up to 100%. And like with any buying opportunity, whether it's in the stock market or in this market, you got to take your best guess as to where you at. The prices are the lowest, the RECs are the highest. I mean, this is the time for us to make a move right now. And I think if we lock in at 100%, we're doing ourselves for service. If the rates go down a touch again, we may have missed a little savings, but we're locking ourselves in for 3 years. We know we're going to be at probably the best price. Maybe it goes a little lower, but there's a good chance it could go higher. So, like I said a year and a half ago, that's why I'm for 100%. Let's do it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Musa.
Okay, I might be a little lengthy here, but I'm going to try to keep it as precise as I can. What this really is, it's really about just sending a message. Now, let's face it, it's just, the message of we want to be all renewable, which is very narrow. It is wind primarily and solar. You could bring in thermal, maybe, but everything else is not a renewable energy. If it's gas, it burns off, it's gone, right? So it's really about what message do we want to send. It was no different than it was a year ago. We didn't want to send a message to our generation plants that are here that, they don't count. Because all you're doing when you go to 100% renewables, you're just going out to the REC market and buying RECs, which is a subsidy to the renewables. right? I mean, so understand what that is. It's not like all the power goes on the grid. You don't say, oh, this part is renewable and this part is this. Look, we got something out here that wants to take us forward to capture the methane gas out of our landfill and turn it into a clean gas so we can burn it for well, it could be for homes. But you want to make a statement, and we don't want that. I mean, there is a mix, and Sam, you did say it. We should be supporting a mix. I support 100% clean, 50% of that could be green. Clean being, because you have to redefine it, I guess. Clean being that there's no carbon footprint.
Correct.
Right, and that seems to be the issue so why don't we say we'll be 100% green, 50%, 100% clean, 50% can be green, because the statement partly is we're supporting our industry and our jobs here. Look, it appears that we're going to get another power plant that's going to be run by natural gas, $1.5 billion dollar investment. We didn't tell them to leave, did we? You want them to come, you want their investment in the county, but then you want to make a statement that the power they generate isn't welcome here, even if it is a clean energy? It's all about making statements here, and I'd say we should show that we're 100% behind clean, and we recognize, a little bit more of green. I'll make one other point, and that is, these folks that you'd like to put out of business, especially, some of what I'm going to call the old dirty industries, whether it's generation plants, whether it's refineries, they probably represent about 30% of your entire real estate tax base in this county. And when you put them out of business, which sometimes these messages send that message, you want to put them out of business, along with all the good jobs they provide. When you put them out of business, the taxes costs don't go down, just get shifted to all the residents. So let me tell you, it is about making a statement. And I want to make the statement that we are about clean energy, but, we value the people that are here providing jobs and a lot of real estate tax dollars. So I support clean and 50% green. Thanks.
Mr. Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I spoke on this topic a year ago, and I thought we reached, in my opinion, a very fair compromise at 50%. But to me, it's a question of supply and demand. And when we look at demand, we want to support our local employers. And to pick up on what Mr. Moostis said, and in my district, the southern part of the county, you might say, down in the southern end, we don't, they have nuclear, they have oil refineries, they have gas plants. We really don't have that. But Rashawn Howard gave a budget address. What does that mean in terms of EAV to the Will County? Last year, I brought out the tax bills. I talked about what Exelon paid, how important that is to Reed Custer High School. I talked about ExxonMobil. What does that mean to Shanahan Grade School? What does it mean to Joliet Township High School? How much do all these other plants? What does Citgo pay? They're supporting families. They're supporting jobs. This is empirical evidence. This isn't theoretical. These taxes are coming in September 4th. We know what they're going to pay. Families live on this. They've been supporting our school districts. We're a third relying on property taxes. What about fire protection districts, school districts, park districts that are more reliant upon property taxes than the county is? All of them have a vested interest in these power producers. I know who sent me here. Thank you.
Ms. Trainier?
Thank you, County Executive, fellow board members. I get the importance of the property tax. I get the importance of these jobs and these workers that work at the plant that may live in our community. But I don't think much of that is going to matter if we don't have a planet for them to live on. I don't think much of that is going to matter at all. And we all know that we are running out of fossil fuels, and we need to start making changes and moving towards better energy processes. If the concern is the change that it's going to bring to the workforce, well, maybe we should go back to the horse and buggy, because we put the buggy manufacturers out of business, right? We put the blacksmiths out of business because we stopped using horse and buggy. We switched to an automobile. Well, that automobile created a lot of jobs. And those automobiles paid a wage to those workers so that they could actually afford to buy the product that they built. So I just feel that if we are a capitalist, democratic republic, and I don't know which one of those we're more of, but we should be looking out to support business, whether they are directly in our county or not. That nuclear plant that produces that clean energy, it produces energy for far bigger area than just Will County. It's not like our little bit of energy change is going to lay off every employee in that nuclear plant. I just feel, we've been a leader on environmental issues. The green roof, we're looking at putting solar on our roofs. Does this mean we stop the solar because we're going to provide our own electricity through solar, and that might put the nuclear plant out of business? I don't think so. And as far as cost, and I think that, Board Member Frizzlone said it, this extra, all we're going to do is save less by going to 100%. It's not going to cost our taxpayers anything, Steve. And I actually did, the math on $8,700. I think it works out to be 0.01 cents per taxpayer. I think our taxpayers are concerned about our planet staying here. I love our gas-to-energy plant. I love the fact that we're now going to take that gas and do other things with it instead of letting it flame off at the rate of whatever it was, $44,000 a day. Again, we need to diversify. We need to be trying every single angle to provide the lowest cost to our taxpayers, but to protect our planet. And that's what I'm in favor of, and I will be a yes for 100%.
Thank you. Next up is Ms. Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I've heard a lot of comments this morning, and a lot of them have some valid points to make on either side of the argument. I heard you say, Sam, that it's important for us to diversify. 50% gives us that diversity. It allows us to extend the contract with Constellation, lock in the current prices. So I think that's the best thing. However, since there is so much conversation this morning, perhaps it would be better to send this item back to table, since we are working it in the open meeting this morning instead of at committee. If there is a flavor for that, I would recommend to go back to table. Or remand to committee.
Anytime.
Mr. Executive, Ms. Speaker, if I may, just want to note that I cannot, as your staff, cannot guarantee that if it is tabled, that these savings are not going to change. I can't guarantee that. I just want to make sure I'm being explicit about that.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor to table. You did.
Not table. Not table, remand. Mr. Executive? Mr. Executive, I believe I still have the floor. The motion would be to remand rather than table. Remand would take it back to committee.
And if we get a second, who seconded it?
What was that motion?
I recognize it. Anytime a motion come up as a motion to table, I have to address it. And I'm wondering who seconded it. Mr. Ballard.
If we table it, can't request the committee if we table it. Remand it back to the committee.
Well, there's one already on the floor first. That has to be handled first.
Would you consider withdrawing and the...
I'll withdraw my tabling motion.
Okay. Okay, and,
Remand.
yeah, you, you got a motion of, Ms. Winfrey?
Okay.
You're gonna make a motion to?
Yes.
Okay. President,
Frizzle
Mr.
seconds.
Okay.
And Ms.
Madam Clerk, call the call.
Can we discuss it before the roll? It's not a table.
Oh, if you want any more, well, what more are you gonna say? Jesus Christ almighty.
Well, clearly, we're not ready.
Well, there was a couple more people to talk that was on the list, and Rachel, you're one. Go ahead. But let's.
Okay, I'll be brief. I'll be brief.
Okay.
So to answer some things that came up, Illinois Environmental Council defines renewable energy as wind, solar, biodiesel, anaerobic digestion, organic waste biomass, hydropower, and the landfill gas that we've already discussed. So there are multiple ways to get that green energy. Second of all, this is an Exelon contract, so let's be very clear to Don's point, who sent him here, this is still the same people who sent you here. 50% clean energy versus 100% energy means 50% of it is still dirty, carbon-filled energy. I want to be very clear on that that's what that vote is for when you're asking. The diversity we have in the county already, we have nuclear. Sam has discussed the fact that these contracts do not cover 100% of all of our energy. This is just a procurement, so nuclear will not be affected by this. The next thing is the incentives here in our state. When we buy SREX credits here in Illinois, that means that we're asking for jobs here. We're asking for the demand here. By continuing to not put money into our SREX, you're guaranteeing those jobs in Iowa. So if you want jobs here, good paying, skilled labor jobs, this is the vote that needs to happen for Will County to lead that. By no sense is this a statement against nuclear power. No one is saying that, Jim Eustace. No one has stated that. We did pass the Greenest Region Compact, and part of that is providing leadership for sustainability. This is a chance for us to do that. I would speak to some of the union guys in the room. Joe, if you want to speak about the work that this would provide for people here, I would encourage you to do so. And this is about doing the right thing for future generations. And this is a chance for us to lock in an extremely low rate for our SREX credits. And I highly doubt it will ever go lower than this. And to Sam's point, by tabling this or remanding this, you are taking the responsibility away from doing the right thing for our taxpayers and losing them money. So I hope you can explain that to them when we lose this low price.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I would, initially I thought maybe we needed some more time to talk about this as well, but given the information about the rates and that this is a historically low rate, I will be voting no on the matter to remand because I want to see how the motion to amend the, I want to see how the 100% vote goes.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Rice.
My comments almost mirror Mimi's exactly. I do not want to see this remanded to committee. I want to show our constituents that we take advantage of a good pricing opportunity. We have heard from an expert in the field that the percentage of energy is negotiable and changeable. So for county board members that are not comfortable with that, we realize that is an ongoing ability for us to change. But if we are provided a good opportunity to obtain energy, and all we say is that what we have to do is go back and talk about it more, we are not taking advantage of an excellent opportunity. I do not want to see it remanded, and I want to move forward with a vote.
Next up, Mr. Frizzlone.
So you guys know I'm a money guy, and I am not a gambling man. So my suggestion is if everybody is still kind of uncomfortable, if we move forward with the 50% and lock that in right now, we're still locking in a better rate than we already had. And as Sam said, we could move to 75 or 100 at a later date. It may cost us a little, which would be the savings we would not get if we were staying at 50, but at least we're locking in this low rate. I don't feel like gambling another month and finding out it ticked up, and then nobody will want to go any further than 50% because it'll be a bigger loss. And even staying at 50%, we wouldn't enjoy as good. And remember, we're enjoying a better savings to the tune of about $30,000 a year on 50% if we do this contract, which is $30,000 more savings than our old 50% contract. Not zero recs, but the 50% we were already doing. So I would suggest we at least vote to do the 50% right now, and then we can talk about it all we want in committee and decide if we want to go. And then, maybe the rate ticks enough for us to not incur any additional costs to jump to 75 or 100 a month from now or 2 months from now after everybody's talked it out.
So what do you say?
Thank you.
Say lock in the rate.
So I'm saying,
No, that was going to be my suggestion as well. Just lock in the 50% so we don't lose it. We could get best of both worlds. We could still continue to discuss it in committee, and if we come back with the 100%, we could always change it, but at least we wouldn't lose the rate. That was what I was going to say as well.
Mr. Van Dyne?
Kind of getting off track of what these gentlemen are saying, but just to reply to Rachel, yes, I had the opportunity to work on a wind farm for many months, and I will say that it does put high-paying, high-skilled workers to work to build these wind farms and solar farms, operators, electricians, linemen, laborers, etc. And also, Exelon is responsible to maintain the grid that the renewable energy goes on, so I don't feel like it's a slap in their face, and I just wanted to make that comment. So,
Thank you. Mr. Frizzalone.
so my suggestion then is we pull off the motion to rescind, we remand, we pull off the motion to amend
Withdraw
and
the-
vote on the
yeah.
original
We don't have the motion on this.
Right, we didn't have that, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, to get back to the original resolution and vote on that, which would give us the 50% lock for 3 years.
Remand, we did. Yeah, we did.
Remand, but if we...
If back to you, Ms. Winfrey, you make a motion of some kind or
Yes, Mr. Executive, thank you. I would withdraw my motion to remand and encourage us to go forward with the original resolution.
well,
First, I withdraw the resolution to remand.
we got a motion to amend. We got to vote on that.
Yeah, that was the other motion, so...
Oh, yeah, that was still.
Remove that one.
Ms. Ventura has a motion second on going to 100%.
Call the roll.
Call the roll, Madam Clerk. This is the 100. This is the 100.
That's her amendment for 100.
Ferry?
No.
Frizzalone?
No.
Ogalla?
No.
Cook?
No.
Mustis?
No.
Rice?
I have to clarify, I'm voting on an amendment to increase to 100%.
Correct.
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
No.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz? Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
No.
Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
No.
Brooks?
Madam Clerk. I believe that 100% at this time makes a lot of sense. However, I believe also, I don't know, Mary, I can't split my vote, but I believe also, and Mr. Executive, I was trying to get your attention, and I do realize you didn't see it, but I do believe that 50% locking in. I wanted you to know I respect the comments on both sides of the aisle. I respect my colleagues and all the information they provide. However, I will respectfully vote no so that we can move this along. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Larry.
Parker?
No.
Ventura?
Yes.
Dallinger? Okay. Markham? Berkowitz? Cowan?
Yes.
Tuminello? Weigel? Okay. Curlitis?
No.
Winfrey?
No.
Gloria, yes or no to 100%?
Gloria's a no.
Thank you.
Okay, so, let them call.
7 affirmative, 17 negative.
Seven affirmative, 17 no votes. Motion has gone done.
Okay, so then on the original
I would like to make a
resolution.
motion to amend it to 75%.
No.
But it's back to the chairman.
On the original resolution, excuse me, for the 50% locking in the rates as they are now, I move to approve.
Do you move it for 50%?
Yes.
Second, Mr. Frizzle.
I make a motion to amend it.
Miss Ventura make,
Oh, Jesus.
who's, do you have a second? Oh, no, Beth Rice, call the roll.
Call the roll.
Call the roll. This is the
Previous roll call.
previous roll call, call the roll, you'll get the same thing.
Is everybody
So,
clear, 75%?
Call the roll.
Okay.
For the 75.
Yep. Ferry?
No.
Frizzalone?
No.
O'Gallo?
No.
Cook?
No.
Moostis?
No.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
No.
Trainier?
Yes.
Fritz?
No.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould? Van Dyne?
Yes.
Balich?
No.
Brooks?
No.
Parker?
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes.
Dallinger?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Berkowitz?
No.
Cowan?
Yes.
Tuminello?
No.
Weigel? He's not here. Curlitis?
No.
Winfrey?
No.
There was 3 changes there. Yeah, 10-14.
10 affirmative, 14 negative.
10 affirmative, 14. Motion has been defeated. Ms. Winfrey.
On the original resolution at 50%, 19,233, I move to approve, with the understanding that we can still discuss in committee moving the amount of percentage we take. This locks us at the 50. It does not preclude us from deciding later to go to a higher number.
There was already that on you, and so call the roll on 50%, the original motion.
Ferry?
Yes.
Frizzalone?
Yes.
O'Gallo?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Moostis?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier? Fritz?
Yes.
Mueller?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
Balich. Brooks.
Yes.
Parker. Ventura. Dallinger. Markham. Berkowitz. Cowan. Tumanello. Weigel. Karlitis. Winfrey.
Yes.
Would you? Yeah, be a Mr. Traynere.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative. Motion has carried.
Okay, we have next 19234, replacement hires for facilities management, and that's for a maintenance worker, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Cook. Any discussion, any discussion? Previous roll call by Mr. Van Dyne and second by Ms. Cowan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19235, replacement hires for the LCC 911, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Winfrey, second by Ms. Ogala. Any question, any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Harris and second by Ms. Tyson. All in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
We have 19236, replacement hires for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Ogala, Mr. Dollinger, I'm sorry. And any discussion, any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Balich and second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
The next executive committee meeting is scheduled for September 5th at 10 a.m. Thank you. That concludes that report. Next up, we have appointments by the county executive, and I move for approval.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion, any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Van Dyne and second by Ms. Berkowitz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, a motion get carried. Next up is public comment. We don't have anybody signed up. Any public comment? Anyone? Comment by the county board member. Ms. Ogala. You leave the button alone.
My hands are back. I was thinking of turning it on, so I have those great powers, I suppose. Thank you. A lot of good discussion today. I think it just shows that we do want to have a fair discussion at committee before we're voting, just because everyone has different things to say. I have a couple things to say today. I did want to thank the Will County Farm Bureau for putting together the great agricultural tour that we had at the Lang Farm, which is sustainable local foods, and Schooler Grain in Andrews, Illinois, which is organic and non-GMO grain. I think that was really informative for everybody, and I want to thank everyone who attended, county board, staff, and other elected officials. It was really great to see everybody coming out and understanding the importance and need that we have and the value that we have of agriculture here in eastern Will County. In addition to our conversation today, I just wanted to say I'm pretty happy that many of us obviously support renewable energy. Remember, you're paying for it on your electric bill anyway. That's how the energy credits are created, with your own dollars. I also know that we've recently done our support and shown our support and adoption of the Greenest Region Compact. We understand the importance of sustainability for our future generations. So to me, when I have this conversation, I hear this conversation, since I've been on the board, this is my 7th year now, I hope that we will now look forward to an alternative plan for the land purchase in eastern Will County for a use other than an airport, for sustainable plans that we can take and move forward rather than using the fossil fuels to fly more planes when we have airports that are still not at capacity. And these planes would create air pollution, water pollution, and obviously noise and light pollution. So I'm glad to see the board is changed its mind and understanding the need that for our future we have to different decisions than we made in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Board members? Ms. Ventura?
Yeah, I wanted to echo what Judy said about the Farm Bureau tour that we had, and some of the striking statistics that came out of that the number of fields that were not planted this year, 39% of our cornfields were not planted, and then 16 to 18% of our soya fields were not planted. Hopefully the rain keeps up, because otherwise they'll have poor performance of those that were planted. And the counter of that is there's a lot of weeds that have been planted instead, naturally, and that makes it even harder for next year's farmers. So I think, looking at the airport and looking at our farmland becomes a bigger issue long-term, and I look forward to those discussions. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, I'd just like to announce, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, Bolingbrook is having its annual Jubilee. This is an event that has various music, food, and other entertainment. The cost is free admission, free parking, and free shuttle. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Announced by the majority leader, Mr. Ferry.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. First, I would like to re-acknowledge the Redeemed Connection Ministries for the great job they're doing on their 4th consecutive year. And also, I'd like to, if she's still with, yeah, she's still with. Becky, stand up.
Hey, Becky.
Is retiring. Let's give her. Thank you. I'm sure you'll be missed. Also, on a sad note, my good friend Elaine Bice passed away, and please keep her family in your prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Minority Leader, Mr. Frizzalone.
Good afternoon, Willow County. So even though summer doesn't end until September 23rd, as far as the school kids are concerned, summer's over. So, the kids are out on the streets learning new bus routes, new ways to schools. So just be cognizant when you're out there, especially early in the morning, when they're kind of figuring their way, especially the youngest ones. So today is National Relaxation Day, and it's also the start of the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. So my suggestion is put on some Joplin, some Hendrix, Cocker, Santana, Dead, Creedence Clearwater, and my personal favorite, Sly and the Family Stone, and just sing a simple song and relax. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Brings us all back memories, huh? Miss Winfrey, our board speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. And I just want to say thank you to all our board members this morning for the very spirited discussion. A lot of valid points made, a lot of interesting comments. Clearly, we have some willingness to do and be green in Will County, so I'm thankful for that and thankful for everybody's willingness to work on that. I also want to say thank you to our Chief of Staff, Nick Palmer, for doing our State of the County, this morning. I've just elevated him to the House. And also to Rashawn Howard for doing our budget this morning. A lot of work has gone into both of those pieces, and we're just thankful that they were able to help us through that and to give this presentation this morning. And I also want to say to our board members, if you think this was a spirited discussion, we have some others coming up. We will have a committee of the whole that will address cannabis, the laws and the input of that, or management of that in the future. We will also have one that looks at the gas tax, and then, of course, one on the South Suburban Airport, so that all our members have a chance to get up to speed. So we have a lot of interesting discussions in front of us. And I just want to say thank you for letting me be myself again.
Okay, moving on, we do have an executive session pending litigation. So everyone must clear the boardroom and
Second.
Okay, wait, we gotta get a roll call to go, get to go.
Get the roll call.
Motion by Mr. Markham, second by Mr. Van Dyne to go into executive session.